Warning, disaster incoming.
What's up, everybody? My name is Daniel. You know me online as Zestrian, and today is another episode of Budget Beginnings, where I take the new Universus precons that they've released and I put a $15 upgrade to them. Today is about Jun Kazama, the second of the two Tekken 8 Clash decks that we've gotten. And yeah, she's a pretty cool character. Seven-hander, stuffs card pools, and she can ready herself. So yeah, we're going to go into it. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys later. Until then, let's get to the video. Before we get into the full deck, let's talk about the character for a little bit. Jun Kazama, the Light of Hope. It's a 7-hander, 22 health response commit. After an attack deals damage, your rival adds a top card of their deck to their card pool face down. This is pretty cool because it's either person's attack. It doesn't have to be yours. It doesn't have to be theirs. So if they get an attack through, you can stuff their card pool still as well. A way to kind of deal with some aggro decks, and then also can make you a little bit more aggressive, because if your attack hits, then you can stuff a card and make your cards harder to block. Enhanced, Tenacious, Spin Momentum, ready this card. So if you have momentum, you get to use this response commit multiple times, or what's really cool is if you have momentum on your opponent's turn, this can basically be like another free foundation. You can spin momentum, restand, you tap it to pay for a block, and then do it again. So some cool ideas there. These are the upgrades I made to the deck. Once again, as I said in the previous video, these are the prices at the time that I made this PowerPoint. So I don't know if these prices have changed. I don't know if these cards have gone up or gone down. But the total at the time was $14.85. So around this price total is what all these cards together are. And this also, I didn't say this in the Jin deck, but I'm also not including Attack on Titan 2. I know that Attack on Titan 2 came out the same day as these decks, but since I don't know the prices of those cards, I didn't want to include them, because those cards could be a quarter, $1, 15. It doesn't make, I don't know. Not until more consistent sales have happened for them. All right, now here's the deck. We are at a 60 card deck. 21, 21, 18. Pretty good average of the block zones, but the modifiers are a little bit more to be desired. Sadly, most of the cards, they don't have the best block zones, but at least they're close to 2. They're not like the mids where I'm scared at, because it's 2.5, and the speed hate isn't the best, because the best speed hate on like water, which is the symbol I built the character on, is a little bit pricier than I thought it would be, like Fast Friendship, which is one of the cards I suggest. This is a more expensive card than I thought it was. But yeah, here's the full deck. So, some notable things I want to talk about. Lizard Tail Splitter puts a card in your opponent's card pool face up, and then each player draws a card. You discard a card to do this, and they add one card from their hand to do this, and you both draw. So it's a cycle card for 1. 2, it's putting a card in the card pool, which is what your idea of your character wants to do, is stuffing their pool. And it makes them have to get rid of a card as well, which they get to choose, so it's not as good. But if they have like 1 or 2 cards in hand, this could be like this is what breaks their defense for the turn. But yeah, and then Deadlock Echo, it's just a really good deadlock. They don't want to go into deadlock against this, because that means there's now 2 cards stuffed in their pool. Jawjammer is just a really good throw. We like the throws in this, because she says when the attack deals damage, it does not say non-throw. So you want throws to be able to do that damage to get that card in the pool. Same for like her own attack. It also gains throw, which is what you care about. You need to have a card face down in the card pool, which is why starting with like Lizard Tail Splitter and going into Tsukiyomi's a really good idea. Cheerful Uppercut is just a really good defense card. If you can't full block their attack, if you block with this, basically between this and your character, you've now stuffed 2 cards in the pool, which is really good. It's basically like doing a Keiko's Aid. Hey, stop attacking me for the turn. Ichigaki's a good asset. We already have a 0 for the deck, but I decided to put in 2 Surviving Fall just for a little extra speed hate. We're playing Ice Gliding because we couldn't afford Fast Friendship in this build, since it's the $15 limit. But Ice Gliding is still -2 speed. Give the next attack -1 speed. Can also give your own attack speed, so it has some kind of relevancy there. Strangling Size is just a really good card. This is also probably the most expensive card in this deck. It's like $2.50 per card. Lost in Thoughts, really good Foundation Hate. Shocking Revelation, we are an order character, so we have order attuned cards we can use. So we have a speed reset in the fact in Shocking Revelation, which is a really big deal. And then the rest of this is her stuff. Yeah, this deck we didn't have a lot to like go into it. Like I said, this took up basically half of the price because this is a $2.50 card. But this card's like one of the best defensive cards you can have on the Avalanche symbols, so it was hard not to include it. And plus, also, she has a lot of good cards in her deck already. Tsukiyomi's really good. Gaining Throw, since that's what your character is wanting. And also, this Ready's a face down foundation, which is really big. Gains Throw, restand 1 just because they have a card in the card pool, which you're gonna get there with Jaw Jammer or with Lizard Tail Splitter or with her UR. Ayama is just really good because it's a card draw. And this is like less conditional than like Jin's card draw because his was you already had to be committed to get the card draw. This just says they have to have a card in the card pool, which means you don't even have to worry about what your character's doing. If they just block once, this card gets you a draw, which is very cool. Yeah, Kazuma's Power is fine. It's just a 0 diff. Ecological Fighter is insane. Like, readying 2 foundations if you've dealt damage this turn is insane. Oh, I hit with Jawjammer. Cool, I'm going to ready 2 cards now. June Falling Strike is a really good card. They have 8 more foundations. You get to stuff an extra card in the card pool. It's also a low block. We wanted those. As you see, low is our lowest number here. Defy Fate is really good. Maybe if you go deeper into making this deck, this might not be as good because it only cares about punches, and this isn't a punch, and this isn't a punch. This is a punch. That's a punch. So like her stuff is punches, and then this Cheerful Upcut is. But like the 2 cards I think are really good in her do not have punch. So Defy Fate doesn't do anything with them, but that's fine. You can go a more punch route with her if you want to, especially she has good, so good can go into more punches. You can be playing with, like when I did my Jin build, you saw a little bit of the punches in there. We had the Rewind Throttle. That's a punch. That's a really good punch that she could use. A 5 over 3 that commits a card is really good for her. And yeah, Kazuma style traditional martial arts. This is also a really good card. This is just a flip draw card if you have a punch in your card pool, which is really good. I think this card is very cool. Wildlife Protection. I think this card's insane. I really want to put this card in a lot of decks. Tenacious, if you have dealt damage turn, add this card momentum, is pretty crazy, considering this. You get to use this to pay your cost for something first, and then say, okay, now I'm gonna go get a momentum. So if you're playing Blood Eval on water, because that's on water as well, you can send this to momentum and restand it. That's another card you can think of if you want to play that as well. Or just a free momentum is just always good, no matter what you play. I mean, this says get to pay a cost for a card and then restand your character just for free. So, it's basically you're getting rid of, it's like sacrifice. It's in the same sense of like Devil Gene, of like you sacrifice it to restand Jin. This is basically her version of that, but in my opinion better, because it has more utility outside of just restanding your character. And then the Power Stop Jin, this is just her other UR. The card's fine. I'm not the biggest fan of this card, but I made the rule myself that I have to play the URs from the deck. But if one speed and 2 damage is okay stat line, and then the Enhanced Destroy to give 2/5 is really good. And yeah, that's the deck. I mean, there's not much I can really say. I mean, your big moves are turn 1 or your first turn 2 attacking, play Lizard Tail Splitter, go into Tsukiyomi to give it throw, or go to Yama to draw a card, then go to Tsukiyomi, commit a foundation to play it, use its ability to resand that foundation. And you've played 3 attacks. you've stuffed at least one card in their card pool, maybe two if one of them's dealt damage, and then it will be a 2 once this card hits. And then if you have other things to be able to hit them with, then that's fine. I do have other suggestions in this deck. Obviously, I don't have every suggestion for the deck. There's just a lot of good cards that can go in this. But these are just a couple cards I want to talk about. Fast Friendship is a really good defensive card. Sadly, I just could not afford it in this build because I'm trying to stick to the $15, and Struggling Studies unfortunately won out over this because we have other SPA cards, but we don't have another card that really does what Struggling Studies does. If you don't want to buy a second deck, which I would understand if you don't, because your best cards out of the deck, in my opinion, are Ayama and Tsukiyomi and Ecological Fighter. These are commons, except for Tsukiyomi's uncommon, so you get 3 of it. But these are commons, Ecological Fighter and Yama, and those already come as 4-ofs in one deck, and you might not have to go past that. And if you don't, that's fine. I do suggest maybe getting more Wildlife Protection Agent. Like I said, it's just a free restand your character. It's doing the better version of Devil Gene because it has so much flexibility. If you have cards or like EX and stuff, which unfortunately we do not here, but you could put those kind of cards in here. That's for free momentum for your EXs, free momentum for your powerfuls, free momentum for whatever ability requires momentum. This just gets you it because it's tenacious. So it's not like you have to get rid of a real standing resource to do it. So I definitely suggest playing. I would play maybe 3 to 4 of this. Eat My Sticky Balls is an interesting name for a card, for one, and then 2, this card's just been really good for these card pool stuffing decks since the beginning of MHA. This came out in MHA 1, got reprinted in Girl Power. If this attack is not blocked, add the top card of your discard pile to the card pool. So basically, whether they block it or not, a card is going into the card pool. And they want to specifically block this in June, because if they don't block this, it is now 2 cards in their card pool because of June's ability. So they can say, all right, I either take 4 and have 2 progressive, or I block this and have 1 progressive, but I now wasted a card to block this 4-eye for 4. Super Great Rush is another cool card. -1 defeat and +1 to -1 to the block modifier for each card in your rival's card pool. So if you can get this string of card stuffing off, if you have multiple Lizard Tail Splitters, Jaw Jammer doing damage, or them blocking, etc., this card just gets progressively cheaper. It does not have a cap of how cheap it can get. So if you somehow have 7 cards in their card pool, which maybe you will, it is a 0 diff. But even having 3 cards in their card pool is just really good, because this becomes a 4 diff, 4 mid for 7, and depending on, I imagine this would be the 4th card in your card pool at that point, if you've stuffed a card every attack. That's a 7. You're paying in on 7. It's a 4 mid for 7, and they already have 3 cards in their pool. And if they have 3 or more cards in their pool, you've now sealed 2 foundations. So it's just a really good, here's this, take this move, and then hitting them for a good old 7. And then obviously, as I said, there's other cards you can do. Off the top of my head, Rose Whip Barrage is another good card. It's a 4 diff echo move that says if your opponent has 2 cards in a card pool, it gets 3 damage. I believe it's 3 damage. But that's a good way of game ending, especially with wildlife protection. I did not expect my computer to ring. I apologize. But wildlife protection with a Rosewhip Barrage is really good, because you can commit it to playing the Rosewhip Barrage and then putting your momentum and then say, hey, I've now got this echo move that's going to do 12 between the 2 turns, or the 2 attacks, unless you do something about it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's everything, guys. I hope you like the deck profile. I'm going to be doing 1 for each deck of lower decks, so that's 4 more decks I gotta make before we see the solo leveling deck, which is gonna be slightly stressful, but I'll make it work out. This is interesting because this is making me build decks that maybe I would have never built before. I'm not a 7-hander gamer, to be honest with you. So I'm sure there's some 7-hander gamers out there that are like, well, for $15, I would have done this instead of this. Maybe that's the case. But I'm not the biggest 7-hander gamer because I'm not big-brained enough to save my life as easily for this. But this character's pretty cool. She can be like an aggressive one if you want her to be aggressive. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.